Really can, though. They really can. Oh,
all right. Hi,
very
Rose.
official. It's very official. Hello.
How are you? I love now that we hit Zoom. It's like you are recording just in case.
I know, it was really super official. Like, I was like, this meeting is being recorded. I was like, oh my God, do I have to like, all of a sudden I just was like, I switched, something in my brain just went, oh no, be professional. Like,
no,
be organized.
there is nothing professional. And I just said that I'm currently homeschooling. We're in lockdown. You can actually go out because you're in South Australia. I can't. I'm a prisoner. I have a son in the other room who will guaranteed interrupt there saying that he needs to do a shit. So who knows? Let's just go.
Melbourne or Sydney?
Sydney.
Yeah.
So I feel
okay.
a little bit more privileged than Melbourne. I really feel bad for them. Like,
yeah, it's terrible.
I think it was like 10 out of the 18 months they've been in lockdown.
It's pretty bad, actually. Most of my family live in Melbourne. Sorry, I don't have a lot of family in Sydney, but most of them live in Melbourne.
Yeah,
I really feel for them. They're really struggling. Yeah, they're having a really hard time with that. I mean, lockdown number 5, like, that's messed up.
It's fucked up. And you're probably going to hear the choppers.
But let's not talk about COVID, because all we do is talk about COVID.
I know. And hopefully by the time that this is out, because it'll be September, this episode, that will be like COVID schmovid, right?
What was that time? Remember that year? It was really fucked.
Year? Yeah, that was really fucked that I just went senile and had a Britney 2000 moment, shaved my hair.
You know your child, how old is your son?
5, yeah.
You know that in like 10 years when he's in high school, right? Don't let that blow your mind. He's going to be thinking about this period in time.
I know.
He's going to come home, he's going to be like, Mom, what happened in 2020? And you're just going to have like a nervous twitch. You'll be like, nothing happened in 2020.
No, he's my son. He will know because we're doing like religious study now, and he like was drawing Abraham and Sarah. Will remember that, right? Remember that, but won't remember like all the other fundamental shit that he needs to learn.
Yeah.
But he'll remember like irrelevant, disciples and stuff. Like, how bad's that?
That's okay. That's fine. I remember relevant shit too. I'm great at a quiz night, bad in life. Ask me anything important at a quiz night, I can tell you in 1985 what happened. I cannot tell you like what happened 2 days ago. No.
In 1985, Mum belted me with a wooden fucking spoon because I answered back to
Oh my God, don't. I answered back to my mum once.
I know.
She gave me a look.
The look.
And it just, she didn't even say anything. She just looked at me.
I know.
I was so proud of my mum. She had because she was a single mum. So she was very she had 4 kids, like she had us all under control, which was amazing. Like, yeah, I envied her now because I can't even organize my sock drawer, let alone my life. Like,
I need to interview your mum. I need to interview your mum and be like, how do I do this?
Because mum is amazing. Yeah.
What look?
No, but it's like I think she did it through fear. I've got to tell you, like a lot of love, but mostly fear. I was scared shitless of mum.
I know.
Like times where she would just shoot me a look. Like we'd go to people's homes and before we'd get out of the car, she'd be like, you don't ask for anything. You don't say yes, you just wait for me to look at you and tell me whether you can have it or not. And we would say, if the kids come to play with you, you don't get off and so we would just sit there like robots. And then, the parents would come in with, would you like a biscuit? And we just look at mum would nod her head and we'd be like, thank you. She'd be like, take a tissue. And then the kids would be like, can we play? And mum would be like, yes, you can play. And then we'd go and then we'd just escape like the jail that was the stare of mum. It was hysterical. So
you're okay. You're okay. You're not in therapy or anything like that. You got a pretty good business.
We're fine.
You're fine. Yeah. All conscious parenting.
Relax. Like it's fine. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like I think that's the line with kids, isn't it? Like you can't be their best friend forever. You have to be a parent. You have to draw a line. I mean, this is a woman that has no children, so I'm not on this at all.
If I had hypothetical children, they would. No, I'm joking. I was the hypothetical mum, as of everyone, and then
who isn't? Everyone's a hypothetical mum. Even mums that are mums are still hypothetical mums. Like they still talk about other people's kids.
I bet you my kids get away with murder at my mum's house. Like anything, any complicated dish that they want, she whips it up like that. But if it was us, you eat what's on the table and that's it. I ain't cooking nothing else, right?
Oh, yeah, you got your favorite dish on your birthday. That was it. Mum was like, what do you want? Vine leaves for your birthday. I always wanted vine leaves, like, Lebanese wine. That's my birthday dish. So now when mum makes it, it's so funny. I'm 44 years old. Now when she makes it out of the blue for no reason, I ask her why. Oh, I made vine leaves. Come up and have dinner. Why? Why'd you make them? Who came up? Did you talk to one of your grandkids? What happened?
Whose birthday did I miss?
Whose birthday is it? What happened? What's going on? Who came to visit you? Like, I don't know. I just don't believe for 1 second that she made them for me. Like, I just don't believe it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, oh my God. Do you want to like give the listeners a little bit of a rundown of who you are, Rose? Like, who is Rose and what does she do?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out. But from a paper sense, like on paper, so I am, oh God, where do I start? Okay, so I own a cafe in Adelaide and I'm a chef there. So I'm the head chef there. I don't say chef because I'm not really a chef. So I'm like the head cook, I guess, really. I don't like calling myself a chef. Never studied. And it's probably, there's a lot of chefs that really put in the time and I just didn't do that. So I've been there now. We've had that for 6 years. And that kind of kicked off when I did MasterChef back in 2015. So that was in season 7.
Oh my God, it's been that long. You opened it after that season and then you came back for the season, like another season with all the
All-Stars. Yeah. So we opened, so we had been planning so we kind of have to backtrack a little bit. So I worked in corporate for about 15 years and I know that's the face that you make when you say, I can't, So I was in corporate for about 15 years. I had a really amazing job in Melbourne. I loved it. It was all fantastic. And then I think it was in 2012, my older brother passed away very unexpectedly. So I kind of just had a moment where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, why am I living in Melbourne? What am I doing in this corporate job? Like, I'd been doing it for so long and I just got to the point where I was like, I just don't like it anymore. But I just did it, job, and I was earning lots of money. So I just thought that that's what you did. So I just kind of within 3 months of that happening, quit my job, moved back home, back in with mum. We had a deli, like a little corner of a milk bar sort of thing, and just worked in that for a few months and then just got a really terrible job that I hated here in Adelaide. And just was kind of like, well, what am I doing with my life? Because I think, those moments in life really anchor you and they make you really think about. Yeah, it's a pivot. And that's the thing. Like, it really sort of was like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? And so then I came home and worked in a couple of other corporate jobs for a few years, which I just detested. I was like, I have to do this though because I need money. And my brother, God bless his soul, always wanted me to go on MasterChef. Like, he was always like, you should go. And I remember putting in an application for season 2, and they called and they're like, you've got an audition, like, we'd like to meet you. And I don't know, he rang all his friends. She's going to be on MasterChef. It's going to be amazing. She's going to kill it. And then I didn't go to the audition. I freaked out.
No.
I was like, I don't know why, because it was season 2. So this is coming off Julie Goodwin and Poe. Like, this show blew up. Everyone loved it. And I was just like, what if I'm not good enough? What people going to say?
Imposter syndrome. It just cripples you, doesn't it?
It is. And
it was mean girl.
I know. And it was also new back then with all the cooking on TV. And I was like, what if I can't? Oh my God. So I totally got in my own head and didn't do it. And never went back again. And then I always felt like, not that he was disappointed, like he was like, whatever you want to do, it's your life. But then after he passed away, I was like, I just have to do this for him. Like, I just feel like this is the thing that I need to do because he always wanted me to do it. So I auditioned for season 6, I think, and didn't get in. I don't know. I just wasn't in the right headspace. And then, I went back for season 7. I just thought, God, I have to just give it one more crack. Yeah. So 3rd time's the charm. So when people say, I auditioned and I didn't get in, it's like, man, I tried 3 times to get in.
No, you don't really know that, do you? Until moments like this where you come out and talk about it, really.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's never as simple as just putting an application in and you're in. Like, it's a process. So after the 3rd time when I got in, I was like, okay, all right. And so by the time I got the nod to say I'm doing it, we had, so my little brother and my sister and I, for about 2 years before any of this had happened. So around 2013, 14, we started planning a cafe. So we started planning to open up a cafe and, her friend George put this amazing business plan together. They were working on it really hard in the background. I was working full time because I was like, I'll keep working. I'll bring the money in. You guys, do what you got to do, run the business, get all that kind of stuff happening. So we were looking for spaces. We were sourcing food and all this sort of stuff. So our biggest hurdle was finding a space. And then I went off and did MasterChef. And legit, the day I got eliminated, I came home. I spent the night at mum's crying because it was just a lot to just compress. in months because we're locked in, so you don't see anyone. It's, you know, whatever. And so I came home, and then I was driving back to my apartment the next morning, and my little brother rang me, and he was like, "Oh, you got to go look at this space. Like, I think it's a really good spot for the cafe." And I was like, "Nah." I said, "I'm too tired. I can't do this today." He's like, "You have to go and do it." And I walked in, and I was like, "Fuck, this is the spot." Yeah. I was like, "I've come out of this 6-month lockdown intense experience, and we've just found." And I just knew. Like, I walked in, and I just knew it was the ugliest thing you'd ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
Was disgusting. I mean, I've never seen anything more gross in my life. This space was hideous. And so then that was sort of like, shit, we're doing this, aren't we? And then that was it. So we did it all ourselves. We renovated. George did most of it, God bless him. And yeah, we opened like I think we were open for about 2 months before Masterchef started airing. And then it started airing and people hadn't really made the connection that it was me. And then I think I was on air for about 6 or 7 weeks because I made it to top 10. So maybe 8 weeks, I think. And then I got eliminated. And then, you know, at the end of the episode where they say, where are they up to now? They were like, oh, Rose has opened a cafe. So for about 2.5, 3 months, we were chilling. No one came in. People didn't know who. A couple of locals would wander in. Our mates would come. We'd sit, have coffee. This is great. We were like, this is excellent. Like, we need to make more money, but whatever. It's fun. We went from that to lineups out the door. Aired for like a month. Like, we could not, like, I would have to shut the kitchen early every day because every day I kept running out of food, and I would double my order. I'd get triple. Like, it was never enough. People would come with newspaper clippings, you know, oh, is this the cafe from Masterchef? So
that's so cute.
Yeah, it kind of just launched us, I think, which was really amazing. So
that is really amazing.
You know, I don't really believe in the saying that everything happens for a reason, but I really, because I think it's such a bullshit way to cover up bad things happening and good things happening. You know, like I'm not a big fan of it, but I do believe that timing is everything, and you have to seize opportunities when
the synchronicity of all the events, though, it was just lined up. It was just, I don't know, it just meant to kind of be, though, like, you know what I mean? Had you not do whatever and just follow your gut. Well, that's your instinct guiding you, right, into your passion and your love for food and family. And I love that. Like, when I was watching you on Masterchef, I was like, I got that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, through the meals that you made and stuff like that. And you were just you. And then when I continued to follow you, like, on Instagram and the way that you cook, and what is that kind of, and I think that family, that's just it, the family love. Like, when people come into your cafe, like, what do you want them to feel? Like, that sense.
Oh, like they're walking into our home. Yeah. Like, they do. And that's the thing. Like, we welcome everyone. It's like very relaxed. You know, we have seen couples go on first dates and then start dating and then get engaged and get married and buy homes and have babiys. Like that. We've been there for 6 years. We've seen families evolved. We've seen people come in. We've seen people die. Like, we've seen everything. So I kind of feel like we're really part of the community, and that's what we wanted. Like, we grew up in a milk bar, like a deli. 30 years Mum had this deli. Like, we grew up in a community where people knew us and we knew everybody. So that's ingrained in us. And I think it's part of the culture as well. Like, we, you know, like, you have your own home, but it's open. So
it's open, we're hospitable, you know, it's that cultural, just welcoming and that relaxed. Yeah, it's like mi casa y su casa.
Literally, I had cousins coming out of the wazoo. I can't even tell you. We tried to count once at Christmas. We're up to like 275. Like, so we have so many cousins. So, like, that's the thing. Like, not all here in Adelaide, but like, it's just, we grew up in a sense of community and a sense of family and a sense of just being around a lot of people all the time. And the house was always open. You could come and eat. Mum would always have food, you know, like, and mum is a big anchor for that because she's very, like, mum is just a saint, I'm sure. And she just, you know, nothing was ever a problem. She would literally, like, help anyone that needed it at any point. And we didn't have much growing up. Like, we weren't poor, but Mum worked really hard for everything that we had. So we appreciated everything that we had. We're very grateful for it. But she would literally give the shirt off her back if someone needed it. So
I love that.
With that, like, that sort of role model is someone that this is how life is. it's ingrained in all of us.
It is. And the way that we
Yeah.
cook and the way that we, extend that. And so how much has that culture in your food like translated? Like because I look at your food and I'm like, I see those elements of like Middle East coming out of it with that modernization of it. And it's so funny because when I see it, I was like, I giggle sometimes because I grew up in a predominantly like Australian school. Like there weren't many wogs there. And I remember
same, buddy, same.
And
same.
sometimes
there were 6
like
of us.
well, yeah, probably that in the whole school. Like there was some sourdough. My mum's sourdough. My dad is Middle Eastern, but like sometimes I'd go to school with like za'atar, like on, and they'd be like, "What is that? Bird seeds." And now I'm like, "Yeah, you dipping it in everything, eh?" Like, and it's on.
I know. Now you want it. I used to take kafta to school, like kafta in the tube, like in the log.
That's the Arab,
bread.
Burger.
It's just that's McDonald's. I would say to Mum, can we have McDonald's? And she'd make kafta in Lebanese bread with tabbouleh and hummus, and chips this thick, that was our McDonald's. But that's what we grew up with. And it's so funny because, my camera's sliding. It's so funny because I see it now and I think, and I'm so grateful because I think I'm so glad that people know about our food now and that they're educated. But I think, I don't know. It just makes me laugh because I think that really shapes who you are as a person because
absolutely
those experiences at school, like I got put into English as a second language. English as a second language. I was reading Boston in year 10 and they put me into English as a second language because they needed to fill the class because a handful of kids that didn't speak English, they just moved here from another country, but they didn't have enough. So they put all the ethnics into English as a second language. I was like, there was 8 of us in the school. Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I aced it. I was amazing. I did my main talk on Mariah Carey. That's how confident I was. Like, I didn't even care. I was like, this is fine. Do whatever I wanted.
I'm going places in life, bitches. Move out of my way.
I know, whatever. This is, I'm going to get an A+ in this class no matter what I do. But it's just, it's that, it's not, it's just that it's not that it was hard. It's just there was always that constant tiny little hurdle that you sort of had to keep
jumping over. Yep.
Yeah. And it just, and I think back on it now and I think, God, it's made me so much stronger and resilient. So resilient. Like when you're 12, 13, 14, you got to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Like, as you get to an adult, you're just like, I've done this. Like I've dealt with all this shit. Like nothing you can say.
Yeah.
Really nothing you can say is going to upset me at this point.
Exactly.
As a kid. So I'm fine now as an adult.
And I think that also embeds that whole like consistency, persistence and patience, like in what we do,
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
Hard work, man. My mum we were working in the deli. Like mum would put me on a milk crate so I could reach the till and I would be serving customers.
But I love that because you know what? I think people now, it always goes automatically to online and social media, which is great. Yeah. But people forget that social media is to be social. And and you treat people as though they're people. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of how many followers or whatever. And that's what I say to people. I'm like, I just reach out to people because if I saw you down the street or if I was serving you at the deli or at work or whatever it may be, I would say hello. I'd be like, hey, how you going? Totally. I love this. It's just all about that connection and meeting and having common grounds. Like, if you go out and you meet new people at dinner, like friends of friends, you're going to convert, but you're going to converse and you're going to chat and you're going to chat. And then you're going to be like, oh, I love this show or I love to cook. Oh, what do you do this? And that's how I feel like, back in the day or when we were growing up and we had those little jobs, whether it was in the family or not, or in, food related or not, like it makes you like more of a people's person. And I do think that wins above all, to be honest, because there's a lot of people on the online space that are like, they treat it as though like their followers puts them on some sort of a platform, and essentially it may, but it's like, I would want people to just be like, hey, how are you? And not feel like, you can't talk to me. Because that goes against what I'm trying to teach and, preach on the platform and stuff.
Yeah. It also goes against how you were raised as well. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, I look at social media and it's, I've had an odd relationship with social media, I think. And I think like, it's so, look, I fall victim to the FOMO, I fall victim to like, should I be doing that? Should I be doing that? I look at, should I be doing that? But then I just, like, I think it's just one of those things where, you've got to really use social media. For me, I use it as a work tool now. So I don't think of Instagram and Facebook as a social outlet for me anymore. I see it as something that I use for my job. And my job is cooking. My job is, being in the public eye, I guess, a little bit, not as much as some other people, but a little bit. And I use it to promote my cafe. I use it to share recipes, to share stories, like all that kind of stuff. But it's a work thing now. So I no longer look at social media as my social outlet. Yeah. Like if I want to talk to my friends, I'll talk to my friends. I have chat groups going. I, FaceTime people. I'll, now with this happening, but obviously before we'd go out for dinner, I'd meet up with friends. Everyone's like, you're always out. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to see my friends. Like I want to sit down and have a conversation with people
and share a meal with them, because the best experiences and because the best memories are around food, right?
And talk shit and I don't know,
and have a
pretend
laugh.
that you know stuff that you don't, like, like just not, and like I always say to my friends, like, oh, we had such a good night, no one touched their phone. Like, because everyone's like, oh, you're like, oh, you always put up photos of food when you're at restaurants and stuff. And I'm like, I really stopped doing that. Like, I'll take a couple of shots because if the food's amazing and I love the restaurant, because I know how hard
share it.
So I want to share it. Like, I want to share these small businesses with people so they can go and eat and all that kind of stuff. And mostly because people always ask me where to go eat and I never remember. So I always put it up on the socials and I'm like, follow that. Because honestly, I can't remember what I did for breakfast this morning, let alone where I ate 2 nights ago. But so I'll do that, but it's, like I'll put up a couple of pics, but then it's like phones down,
thumbs up,
let's hang out, what's up? Like, I watched this TV show or read this recipe or I did something, whatever, I don't know, or I saw this person that we both hate and let's bitch about them. I don't know, whatever. Like, it's just the way it is. Like that's the thing. Like I've really realigned my thinking on what social media is. And I think
agree. And you can go down that rabbit hole. You can go down that rabbit hole and definitely. And then you just get into that whole comparisonitis and then imposter. I just can't. But like, where do you get your inspiration? Like, sometimes look, and I think because people think like we can cook and blah, blah, blah. And they think that we're just always whipping out shit, but we do get in a rut. We do get in a lull. Sometimes totally. Like mind block. But where do you kind of go to get that like spark back up? Because I know sometimes I'm just like, I got nothing. I got absolutely fuck all. And it's not that it's hard because you do creatively, it's hard to constantly keep coming up with. So for the cafe, I have a specials board. I love that about yours, because I always like, oh my God, that brownie with the raspberry.
Oh, the raspberry brownie. That's my baking pot. So I love baking. Baking is my jam. I was going to say, you more sweet or savory? I look to eat savory, but to cook, baking. I don't like brownies. I'm not even going to lie. I will make you the best brownie you've eaten in your entire goddamn life. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be modest about it. Like, I make a fucking good brownie. Mate, they look fucking great. Will I eat one? No. Like, I just don't love them. Like, but I think that's the thing. I just get so much joy out of baking, and it's just one of my favorite things to do. So I'm always baking at the cafe, which I love, but I also have specials boards, which we have 2 savory specials, and every week I have to change one of the specials. So to constantly come up with new ideas for that board, honestly, like there'll just be days where I'm just like banging my head and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Oh, we're extending the special for another week because you loved it. And genuinely, that's what happens because people love them and I'll extend them. But, it's that battle. So for me, I don't know, this is going to sound really corny, but I talk to my team. So we'll just be talking shit in the kitchen, like, because the kitchen is, where everybody comes when they can't be on the floor and we're just hanging out. And I'll just be like, I had this sandwich the other day and I put this in it. And then one of the girls will be like, yeah, I love that. I used to put this in there. Like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then those conversations, I'll just be like, oh, but what if I put this in that? What if I did that? And then, we'll start sparking ideas and then I'll start making stuff and then everyone will try it and they'll all, sort of think about it. I love that. And so that, for me, my biggest inspiration is just talking to people about what they're eating. And like, even like most of the time, it's nowhere near anything that we talked about. Like, oh, I made a hamburger. Oh, cool. What'd you put in it? Oh, I put this like sauerkraut stuff. Oh, I like sauerkraut. What can I do that's pickled? And then that's sort of where you know, our pickles, what
It
goes well with
sparks.
you know, maybe I'll do a toasty. I haven't done toasty in ages. Actually, what kind of toasty could I do? So then it just kind of like starts
Yeah, it
that.
just starts that thinking. You just kind of
Yeah.
need that initial pickup and then go. And then that leads me into like any fucking disasters. I mean, we've all had disaster, but you just were like,
Dude, do you
like
follow
at
me
what
on social media?
I'm like, at what point did I fucking think that that was going to work? Like, can I just waste?
Don't waste. See, here's the thing. Like I mess up in the kitchen all the time. Fake stuff.
I gathered that from Masterchef, which is what I loved. And you were just like,
yeah. But it's so honest though. Like I'm so like
it.
this is the thing about social media that I hate. Everything is so curated and you get the perfect version of everything. And I'm like, you know what? Like I put up the perfect version of everything. Oh my God, completely. But I'll also put up the shit that doesn't work. Like I made a chocolate bundt cake and it got stuck in the tin. So when I got it out, half of it was in the tin, half of it was in the bench. And it was such a delicious cake. And I was
but did you put a plant in the middle? You didn't do that? Like my big fat
I didn't. No, I know. That's why. See, this was my fault. It's bunt. It's a bunt. It's a cake.
What is this?
It's a cake. God, I love that so much. You know how many times, every time I post a picture of a bundt cake, people will send me my big fat Greek wedding gifts. Like, it's just what happened. But I think that's the thing though. Like, I think nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all mess up. And, you know, when you're in the food industry, I guess part of your job is to show people the finished product, which looks amazing. And this is how you can accomplish it. But, you know, I think people mess up and they make mistakes and they'll skip a step. And I try and be really honest about when I've messed stuff up, and I'll show people my faults and I'll be like, look, oh my God, look at what I did. And I made cookies and they all spread, and I don't know why they all spread, but I have a sheet pan of cookie, and I'm just like, and
cut them out. Where did I fuck this up? I know, right?
I know, literally. So then I try and work out where I made the mistake, and then I eat it. Is it still delicious?
Always is. Of course.
What can I do with it? And then I turn it into something else. And so now it's become a thing. Like now it's become this thing with all my locals. They're like, what'd you mess up this week? What'd you make for us? It's usually what I've messed up and turned into something else becomes something that is more delicious than what the original thing was. And so people are like, what'd you mess up? What are you going to do? Exactly. You know, people will message me on social media before I put something in the oven, and they're like, oh, I hope that doesn't work because I don't want that cake this week. I want you to make something from it. And it just makes me laugh because I think, you know, I was so scared to show people that I had made a and then I was like, well, what am I scared about?
People wait for it. I swear. And that's the other thing. Like you got to add the humor. You got to add the real. Just be you. Oh my God.
You just got to own your shit, mate. You just got to own your shit.
That's what I always said.
Like this is the thing. You just got to own your shit. Like nothing is perfect. Nothing was going to ever, you know, like even when something looks perfect, you know, it's taken a process to get there. So you just got to be honest. And I'm really honest about things that work, things that don't work, things that I like, things that I don't like. You know, like if I make something that's really time consuming and looks really pretty, I'll be like, these are amazing. I'm never fucking making them ever again. They took too long and I hated doing this, but they're so cute. How pretty are they? Knock yourself out.
Yeah, knock yourself out because it's the last fucking time you'll ever eat them.
Yeah, you're never getting these ever again.
I always joke as well because I'm like, everyone's like, oh, how do you just whip up this on a weeknight meal? I'm like, how do you get your kids to eat it? I'm like, I don't. Like if they eat it, but most of the time they fucking don't. And you know what they fucking love? Fish fucking fingers out of a rank box. And I'm just like,
don't knock fish fingers, man. I love fish fingers.
No, don't. Oh my God.
I bloody love fish fingers.
There's something rank about them.
Are you kidding me? You know what? You can make your own fish fingers.
I do make my own fish fingers. Yes, I make my own.
I don't, not gonna lie to you. I don't hate a fish finger every now and again. Yeah.
The crumbed ones, maybe the tempura, maybe, but like the crumb.
Listen to you, maybe the tempura. With some tartare and some shitty coleslaw from the supermarket. Don't lie, we've all been there. We've all done the rotisserie chicken from Woolworths with the slaw
and the white roll.
Yeah,
that's just the traditional Aussie.
Yeah. You know what it is though? Like I think that there's like we put so much importance on creating the perfect meal every time. And I think it's so unrealistic to cook delicious meals every single night.
Exactly.
Where you don't have cheap nights and you're lazy and you just pull fish fingers out of the freezer. Like I keep a frozen pizza in my freezer because there are literally just nights where I'll get home and I'm done late, I'm exhausted, I don't want to cook anything. I'll chuck a pizza in the oven or, you know, something. I don't know. Like there's always a cheat something in my freezer. I put packet dumplings or, you know, frozen ravioli that I can just chuck a jarred sauce with. Like this is life. And to have this expectation that you're going to knock up this fancy meal every single night, it's put so much pressure on people and it's so unfair. And then so when people cheat and they take these shortcuts, they feel guilty.
They do.
And
they
it's
do.
like, but why do you feel guilty? Like you shouldn't feel guilty for using a packet jar of curry paste. Like
no, the curry paste is good. The Masiri one is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
that one is bang on.
But it's fine.
I think the other thing is that I love to preach is that, especially for like working women, working mums, that, you know, I'm a big meal planner. And when I say meal planner, I'm not one of those fucking freaks that like I shouldn't say that, but like, you know, that has like 20 containers and everything like cooked from Monday straight till next Sunday. Right. But more so just like mapping it out, doing shit that you know how to cook at the back of your hand, doing one fucking shop and keeping it easy, because it's, to me, I think like even when I talk to people, it's more thinking what the fuck you're going to cook that wrecks you more than the actual meal. And 100%. If you just kind of just like carve it out, like just a simple, like, you know, whatever you're going to know, buy it, do it online once or whatever, and keep it easy rather than every day after, like, you know, sometimes school pickup, you're just calling hubby, like, what do you feel like? I don't fucking know, whatever. I'm like, whatever. How do you cook that? Tell me what's the ingredients so I can go get it. Like, I just don't know.
I need help. Tell me.
And that makes you feel like, you know, essentially like you're failing. But I'm just here for like easy, nice, clean, but also kind of putting in the traditional twists and flavors that, you know, we probably grew up with, which I love. And so what is your guilty pleasure? And it doesn't have to be something that you cook, because mine's a good ramen. Love.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Or pho. I love guilty pleasure. What about yours?
Oh my God, my guilty pleasure, like just like cheats, is there's a place at the Central Market and they do this char kiat. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, and I know I will, but it's a char kiat tao. So it's the thick rice noodles that they cook on a really high heat with the sauce and the egg going through it. And it's just like, oh my God, I just bloody love it. So it's that's like I'm going to have that for dinner tonight. But my other guilty pleasure is I'll just knock up a cheese board. Like, it's my favorite thing. Like just a couple of cheeses, some meat, crackers, olives, some dried fruit, bit of paste, and
have a vino.
A glass of wine, sit down, put on, I don't know, Thor, and just enjoy my life. Like, I think that's that's the thing. It's so funny because like I think we call them guilty pleasures, but it's just food.
I know.
And it shouldn't be guilt
about it. Exactly. It's so funny when celebrities are like, what's your guilty pleasure? They're like, oh, a pasta. I'm like, fuck.
Look, I eat pasta every night of the week. Are you kidding me? That's my go-to. That's not my guilty pleasure. That's like, what am I going to eat tonight? I'll just boil some orecchiette with some parmesan and some parsley and put it in some broth. Like, you know, like, but why is it guilty though? Like, I hate this association. I hate it when people say, cheat meal, guilt meal. It's like, what? Well, why should you feel you're not eating it all the time?
No way. And I think like, you know, we predominantly have like a Mediterranean diet, which is healthy. We're getting everything like, and everything's about balance. And I get asked all the time, like, Marilyn, can you do vegan? And I'm like, I can, but do I want to? No. I mean, my girlfriend's like, you have to make this vegan cheese. I'm like, no.
I don't have to. No, I can eat normal cheese.
I'm okay. You know, I don't get diarrhea, so I don't need to.
It's so funny because like I have to say, like, not realizing that I do this, but like I find that Monday to Friday mostly, like during the week, I'm either vegan or veggie. And it's not on purpose. It's just that I really get nervous about buying meat during the week because I don't know how my week is going to go.
Yeah.
So never know if that's the thing with running your own business. Like you just don't know if you're going to come home at 4:00 or if you're going to come home at 7. And you have just been caught out so many times where I've bought meat for the week and I don't need to freeze it because it's only for a few days. And it just sits there and it goes bad before I get a chance to even look at it and I'll forget about it. So I've just kind of gone, you know what? I'm just going to put veggies in my freezer, put veggies in my fridge, and just keep it veggie because I know that a zucchini is going to last 3 weeks in my fridge versus a piece of steak that I have to cook within a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? So the week I've kind of gone, into this like space where I'm like, I can knock something up veggie really quickly and it's amazing. And I'm really into it. And so I'm not like,
I reckon veggies and sides.
Vegan, but
yeah. But we eat like the way we cook. There's a lot of veggies, a lot of herbs, a lot of spices.
Yeah.
And I reckon it's so underrated. I love Ottolongi's latest veggie book. It's really, really inspiring.
Oh yeah, is it good? I haven't seen it yet.
It's actually pretty good. Some of his things are like really long, but I love him. I love how he he's just got a really good balance. I mean, it just probably serves for the kind of diet that we eat. And I love the ideas. And it's just sometimes you get stumped because you're just like, I like this, but I want veg, but I don't want it to be boring. But I also don't want to like fucking spend 5 hours making some marinated fucking broccoli that my kids probably won't even eat anyway.
My basic, you know what? I think the thing that I tell people, because I live by myself and I have a lot of friends who live by themselves, and I always say to them, your pantry is your best friend. Like keep pantry stock. Shit will not go out of date in a hurry. So I have every kind of dried herb. I've got curry, like garam masala, curry powders. I've got dried curry leaves. I've got, you know, every kind of like spice in there. Like it's a well-stocked, dry.
Totally. Stock,
tomatoes, stocks. Like I don't even use stock. I use stock cubes, like little maize cubes.
You can use risotto
and bring them back to life. Everything. Like there's so many things that you can do when you have a well-stocked pantry. So I don't necessarily like, you know, we call it pantry pasta. Like I'll make a pantry pasta. Tin of tuna, some beautiful sauce, capers, some chili, like, you know, a jar of tin tomatoes, and then off you go. Like it's beautiful. It's delicious. But I think that's the thing. Like I think this idea that you need to keep your fridge fully stocked all the time, you know, can get overwhelming. And especially when you're not feeding a family, like if you're just on your own or if it's just you and your partner. Your life can be a little bit more flexible. Like that's the thing as well. Like I'll get a text from a mate saying, you know, let's go out for dinner tonight.
Exactly.
Done. Get us at home for. So like that's the thing. So I think it's just about knowing how to use what you've already got and just being and keeping it really well stocked. I always have pastas. I always have, you know, tomato paste. I always have garlic. I always have chili. Like all these things I keep, most of it in dried form, fresh garlic because I don't like dried garlic. But, you know, like I keep all of this because I know that I can literally turn anything that I've got in my fridge into something with some spices and some flavor. And you just gotta have a repertoire. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep coming up with new stuff. Keep it simple, but you don't like. This is the thing. Like, there's no shame in repeating meals, and you don't. Like, Mum would repeat the same meals over and over again. Do you think it scarred me? No, I don't care. I just wanted to eat. Like, I was happy to be, and it was always delicious. So, you know, like this idea that you have to pull out a cookbook and cook something new every single night of the week is ridiculous.
I know. And I think that's what people, it overwhelms people and it gets them stumped.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Create your own cookbook. Get a notebook and write down recipes that you know you can nail.
And then you can go back to it. And when you're feeling stumped and you can't think of anything, then you can at least go back to that and just like, absolutely. I love that.
It's the best thing. I did that on Masterchef. I'm not realizing because I had a notebook and I was writing everything down in Masterchef. But when I came home and I was like, what am I going to eat tonight? What am I going to cook this week? What am I going to do at the cafe? I just pull out my notebook. I had all these recipes in it that I'd collected, that I had come up with or collected that I never got to make or I did make or whatever. I was like, this is excellent. Like I just keep going back because it's stuff that I want to eat. Like
exactly.
You know, it was always things that I wanted to eat. And I encourage people all the time. Like, you don't need to have 75 cookbooks. You just need to have a handful of recipes that you love, that you know that you can adapt. So if it's a spag bowl recipe that you love, you know, if you want to eat more veg, just chop up some mushrooms instead of putting meat. Like there are so many different things that you can do to sort of adapt a particular recipe, and don't be scared to change recipes. Like you don't have
are you joking? I know. I think, have you ever made like, we make some, but then we always like, and this will go with it and that'll go with it, which then leads me, I reckon we need to do this or that because I mean, I don't know. Some people,
I'm allergic to shellfish. Like I can't eat prawns
too.
It's crazy. Like I can't eat prawns. I can't eat lobster. But I love all the things that it's a new thing for me. So I used to eat it, but now I can't. So I had the taste annoying. So now I know what stuff tastes like. But Singapore chili crab is like one of my favorite things to eat.
Oh, I know. My brother lives in Singapore.
Can't eat crab.
And he can't even eat.
See? It's annoying. So I was like, well, you know, like why am I making Singapore chili crab? I made Singapore chili mussels. So I did exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
But just used mussels and did the noodles with the sauce, did it all the same, but just swapped out the crab for the mussels. And I was like, oh my God, why does it have to be Singapore chili crab? Why can't it be Singapore chili chicken or Singapore chili pork? Or,
Exactly.
you can love something and love the flavor of something. It's okay to swap something out if you want to eat that, but you don't want to eat that particular protein with it, or
exactly. And just use what you have and what you like. It's always about that.
I agree. Yeah.
Let's do this or that, because I don't know, Rose. I don't know. All right. Pineapple and pizza or not?
Yes. Only on ham, cheese, and pineapple with tomato sauce.
You would go missing in Italy. You would literally, your body would go missing.
But no other pizza. No other pizza. It has to be a shitty ham, cheese, tomato, pineapple pizza. That's it. Like anything else, you just keep it away from my pizza, please.
Bechamel on lasagna or not?
I mean, I grew up without it, so I'm going to say not, but just because that's what I grew up with, but I do love it.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I'm not, if someone puts it on there, I'm not mad about it.
Pho or ramen?
Oh.
Making you sweat.
Yeah, I think fair. Yeah.
Have you tried the pasta chip craze?
No,
air fryer.
I refuse to.
Air fryer or no?
I don't have one. Mum does, and she does make some stuff in it that's kind of tasty. So yeah, I guess so. If you can make it work for you. For me, no.
Fruit in savory dishes.
Yeah, totally.
Apricot chicken, very Moroccan tagine. I love it. I think
my God. Apricot chicken, fresh peaches, burrata, balsamic, fresh basil. Like that's a beautiful, beautiful combination.
And do we crack the pasta before we boil it in the water, or do we not crack it in half?
What are you talking about? Crack what? Like
spaghetti? The spaghetti. Do you crack it, like break it in half?
You an animal? Why would you crack spaghetti in half?
Apparently people do it.
Do?
It's a sin. I know. Blasphemy.
Why? Why do you need to? It cooks so quickly. It'll just evaporate into it'll go into the pot. Fine. Just chill. You know what I do? I'm going to tell you my little tip for cooking spaghetti. So this is okay, I'm probably going to get yelled at for this, but I don't really care. Like I hate doing this. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I have it's kind of like, it's a non-stick pan. It's kind of like a wok, but not really. So it's got quite a high on it. I will make my tomato sauce, like my whatever sauce it is, pop it aside in my bowl, and then I'll put water back in that pan and boil it and put my spaghetti in there because it's got such a high surface area. You put your spaghetti in there, you don't have to do anything. It goes straight in, it boils really quickly, and then you drain it, and then it's done.
Apparently it's not, you've got to make it even more easier than that and fuck it up, right?
Would you cut it in half? It's the equivalent of getting a knife and fork and slicing it, when they cut it.
Which then they proceed to do. They do that after as well.
Spaghetti, it's like, why are you doing that to the spaghetti? Just eat it. It's fine. It doesn't matter if it hits your chin. It's life.
Any pet hates? Like, I know that you probably, you have a cafe, people watch. I mean, pet hates. I saw this recipe and I posted it in my private Facebook group. I have a private Facebook group called The Women Food, and I love this Asian dipping sauce. It is sensational. Gives me life. But the girl in the actual video is slurping the sauce, and it's just everywhere. And does
that annoy you?
It annoys me. And just people that eat with their tongue,
their whole face. Yeah. Face eaters. I call them face eaters.
Any pet
whole face to eat. Yeah. Look, not really. I think, I don't know. I think not so much around eating. I think my number one pet hate is when we go out for dinner and people will ask the waiter, oh, what's good? Everything's fucking good. Everything's good. They don't ask that.
But that's people that don't analyze the menu before they go, right?
Yeah. You don't even need to analyze the menu before you go. Just when you get there, just read the menu.
I read before I went. I read before I go.
Yeah. That, and when someone comes to take your plate and you've enjoyed it and they go, did you love it? Oh, no, I hated it. Can't you tell? Oh, my God. Just don't say that. Yes, it was lovely. Compliments to the chef. That's all you have to say. And my last pet hate is when people fill up a glass of water at a restaurant and leave before they drink it. Why would
Really? Oh yeah, they
why
do
is
it.
there
Okay.
why is there a full glass of water left on your table if you weren't going to drink it? Why did you? I don't know why that annoys me, but it's like, why couldn't you just drink what's in front of you
That you put
in the glass? Why are you not finishing it? Like,
that's funny. It's amazing how we like get irritated by stuff, like, and you're just like, I just don't even know where that came from.
I don't know where it came from. No, and I don't, and I think that you know, what's good, I just find that frustrating because I'm like, everything is good. Like, to ask someone what they prefer to eat, you know, and it's great if you work as you know, you work in a kitchen and there's something that you need to move that people aren't buying, because you can just say,
that's different. Yeah.
the crayfish is really amazing today. Everyone's buying it, but yeah, so it's just kind of like, I don't know why, it just pisses me off. I'm like, just read the menu and decide for yourself what you want to eat. Like, don't ask
I don't know.
someone
What do you fucking like?
you.
Like, everyone's got different taste buds. And then if they don't like it and like, oh, it wasn't best, well, not my problem.
Yeah. I'm literally the person, like when we go to restaurants, I'm like, order everything, just no shellfish because it'll kill me. But other than that,
Yep.
like, no, I've got no like aversion to eating anything. I will try anything once.
Yep.
If I'm not allergic to it, then I can eat it. So
exactly.
I hate saying that I'm allergic to shellfish. Because then they have to ask you all the questions, and I get it because they're just doing their job and it's amazing, but it makes me feel like the person in the group. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. My lips will swell up. Yeah.
So I always ask my guests, I'm like, can you please give the listeners your like go-to, can't be fucked, quick and easy meal suggestion? So if you don't mind, even though you like gave us so many, but what is like?
Okay, so this legit is my like go-to, like what I eat when I can't be bothered cooking is the chicken tray bake. So it's my favorite thing in the whole world to make. I have a little tray, like a little pan just for 1 or 2 people, and I'll layer potatoes, lemon slices, capers, olives, crushed garlic. I'll slice up a bit of onion, and then I'll pour a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan, and then I'll sear some chicken thighs, you know, or chicken Marylands or whatever, get the skin nice and golden, stick it on top, wrap it up, whack it in the oven. And it is just like the flavor that comes from it, because it's kind of you have this sauce at the bottom that's just delicious things. You can add some fennel in there, any veg that you have.
Yum.
Like, depending on what you've got. And so like, then I'll rip the cover off for the last 5 or 6 minutes of cooking, and then I'll add any sort of like veg that I know will cook really quickly in there. And then I just literally pile the veg up on the plate, stick the chicken on top, and just eat it. And it's just like, there's so much flavor jammed into that little plate of food.
Sounds amazing.
And it's quick, and it's just so
easy.
easy.
One pan wonder. I love that.
I love a tray bake. Yeah.
Who doesn't? And it's a crowd pleaser, and it's easy. I love that.
Oh, it's cost effective. You can jam so much flavor in there.
And use up so much of like stuff that you have in the fridge, which I love.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And like, I think the beauty about a tray bake, everything kind of melds in together at the bottom. So if you've got fussy eaters, they're not really going to know.
Exactly. You can just pick out what they like. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, they just like, everything just kind of mushes in together. So like, you know, oh, I don't like fennel, but you're eating it. Did you know that? Oh my God. What?
We don't tell them that, Rose. We don't tell them. We don't tell
people what's in it. What's in it? Oh, I can't remember. Just eat it. See if you like it.
Just try it. I can't remember. And they're like, is it carrot? I'm like, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
No, check your poop tomorrow. I'm not sure what's in it. Like, Jesus.
Oh my God. My kids, speaking of poop, this is totally me, goes left wing, right? But like, we had the charcoal bell buns, you know, the steamed Asian buns.
Yeah.
And my daughter was freaking out because they're like, poop was black from it. She's like, I don't know why. And I'm like, it's just the buns. She's like, oh, it's okay.
Do you get into the charcoal thing? I've never gotten the charcoal thing. I've never gotten on board with it.
I just tried it because I was like, yeah, like that. Yeah. And I was like, tastes the same.
Yeah, I agree. I'm yet to try anything charcoal, like bread wise.
I think maybe that's the like I've had a squid ink pasta and I can taste a bit of a difference.
No, that's different though. Squid ink has got a completely different
taste
flavor profile.
But like
that's
anything that's like charcoal, I'm like, what is actually making it charcoal? Is it just color, like food coloring? Probably is.
No, well, I mean, it actually like it is actual, like for the people that do it properly, it is actually charcoal. But I just don't understand. It doesn't bring anything. Maybe nutritionally, I get maybe it's got like benefits, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I kind of get really confused about the charcoal stuff. Like everyone's like, that's an activated charcoal bread. And
I don't know,
like,
because I use charcoal. I bought a charcoal mask once for my face, and I was like, this is fucking shit. I hate it.
yeah, I don't really understand it. I don't really get it.
Stained my white PJs. I was like, that's it. We're done. You burnt the
We're done with
bridges with me.
this. Yeah.
We're just not
I feel
friends
like
anymore.
as I've grown up eating barbecues where we cook barbecue on a coal.
Oh,
so
yeah, mate. Yes.
like the old school, like square one, you know, not the Weber, it's just this square tin. It's got all the charcoal bottom with the grill on it. And then that's it. Like my aunties and uncles and mum, that's how we'd make barbecue. So that to me is like the charcoal.
Yeah, because it's so jam-packed flavors.
That I'm expecting. Yeah. So that's in my brain, I always expect that's what things are going to taste like, because that's my memory of charcoal is that. But then when I eat them, I'm like, why am I eating black bread? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. Same with beetroot. Every time people try and flavor things with beetroot, I'm like, no, it just gives color, but it doesn't.
Like the beetroot focaccia, and I'm like,
beetroot focaccia. I'm like, I mean, it looks pretty. I'm not saying not to, but wouldn't you be better off just roasting the beetroot and then putting some
it on the focaccia with some like goat's cheese and like thyme and garlic?
Oh, I don't like goat's cheese. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't? Oh, God.
It tastes like a dirty jumper.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Dirty wet jumper.
I love
not here for goat's cheese.
Which is funny because my son loves goat's cheese, and I'm like, you love goat's cheese and you don't eat like some potatoes, roast potatoes. Like, are you
eat fish fingers? Do you want some goat cheese with it?
Probably
charcoal around it.
Don't call me tomorrow when you're on the loo. Oh my God, Rose, this was such a good combo. But do you want to let people know where they can find you on the grams, in your shop?
On the grams. So on the grams, it's Rose Adam Cooks. On the socials, it's on all of my socials, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. I am on Twitter, but I never use it.
So who the fuck uses Twitter besides Donald Trump?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't got. It's too much for me. And cafes in Adelaide, Melrose Park, Winston Avenue. It's called the Middle Store. If you're in Adelaide, come past and say hi when all this is lockdown stuff is over.
No, I've been always wanting to go to Adelaide. Just try one day.
Adelaide was the safe haven for everybody. People were coming here to have a break because they couldn't, do anything anywhere else. And now we're in lockdown. So
fucking shit.
We're not complaining though, because this is only our second one, and the first one only lasted 2 days. So but no one in Adelaide is actually complaining about lockdown. We're all fine.
Holiday. It's a mini fucking holiday for the Adelaide people.
Legit. Like we're all just kind of like, it's a chance to take a little bit of a break. But we do feel for our Melbourne and Sydney friends though. I really do. You guys are just doing it tough. So I kind of feel like
we need to move to Adelaide.
In a week or two, maybe. Like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like it's cool. We're fine. So hopefully everybody over there is just keeping safe and don't go crazy, and murder is never an option. Just remember that.
Shaving your hair and bashing people's cars like with a baseball bat was just
don't go Britney. No. Yeah, I don't even like saying that. Poor Britney.
I know, poor bless her. I know, free Britney. Oh my God. But I suppose we just got to keep going, eh? No option.
No, we don't have an option. No. And like, I think we're very, despite how hard everything is, like I look at some other things that are happening in other countries and I just think, my goodness, like we're still, even though it's tough and it's really hard, we're still in a very fortunate position in Australia. Like we're very lucky to be here. Like I look at what's happening in India and I look at what's happening in Lebanon. My God, Lebanon is just a mess. So I think it's really hard for other countries that are doing it so much more tougher than we are. So I just kind of myself that, as tough as this is for us here, we're still okay.
Yeah, we're alive, we're healthy. Yeah, we have
access to food, we've got access to water, we've got access to, like we've got home, like, for the most part, we're sort of okay. And, people are doing it tough and I get that, but, for a majority of people, it's all right.
Yeah. I know. On that note, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. We'll chat soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.